How's it going, guys? It's Jake, and we are back with another World of Warships Legends replay. This time we're taking a look at the Tier 6 German cruiser Yorck. German cruisers are... what's a word I'm looking for? For me, anyways. Unlucky, maybe? I don't know. I feel like I lose a lot of the time in German cruisers. Not really sure why. Yorck is kind of an exception. I feel like this boat is pretty strong for Tier 6, despite not really having a great armor scheme, you know, kind of getting overmatched by just about anything, battleship-wise. Tier 6 is tough for cruisers, you know. It's really outside of like Talon, right? It's really tier 7 when you kind of get those armor schemes that allow you to tank a little more damage. Heavy cruiser wise, light cruisers not so much. But, you know, 27 casemate at tier 7. Yes, you know, you've got to look out for Russian battleships and American battleships and Japanese battleships, but you know, German and French and Italian and British, you can kind of defend yourself. Tier 6 isn't the case. So to me it seems a little strange that I play this one so well. Maybe it's just because of the, you know, you being up tiered, or top tier I should say, playing against tier 5 ships like this one, and you know, maybe the players aren't as good or the boats aren't as good, whatever the combination is. But it just seems like I'm a lot more effective in Yorck than I am in like Hipper or Blucher or Hindenburg. I just seem to never be able to win those games, and it's not always because of me not playing well, right? The Hindenburg's tough just because most of the ships you see at legendary tier, battleship-wise, seem to have that 30 mil overmatch. Like, every lobby is littered with Vermonts and Preussens and Kremlins and Ohios. Anything with, you know, 457 or greater. Oh, Yamato. How could I forget about Yamato, right? It's hard to be aggressive like this in those higher tiers just because it's not that, you know, you don't have the armor profile, because you do. It's just you're constantly getting shot at by Preussen. That's the real one. Preussen and Yamato, right? I mean, Yamato is a different beast just because it's like ultimate overmatch. But you have, you know, a majority of bad players at legendary tier who are taking out a battleship play Yamato. But it's really Preussen, right? At overmatch of the 30 mils is not always the easiest to navigate when you play a little bit aggressively, but it just seems like German cruisers for me, it just doesn't work out. I think they're good ships. It's just why play something when you always seem to lose, even if it's a good ship. The question of the day, I suppose. But either way, this was a pretty solid game, and the XP total, modest damage. I mean, pretty good game for a tier 6 cruiser once it's all said and done. Sorry, battleship. That looks like a Queen Elizabeth or a Warspite. You know, when you have 30,000 HP, 32,000 HP, and you're dealing 100,000 damage plus in a game, that's a pretty solid game damage-wise. It's kind of, how else do you fill up the stat sheet, right? You know, getting cap, getting defense, shoot down planes, things like that. But it's a really, really solid game for a really solid cruiser. Like, I think Yorck is quite solid. Like I said, despite the limitations of its armor and, you know, the tier, when you're bottom tier and you're facing tier 7, that can be really difficult. But on the you know, contrary to the, you know, poor armor scheme, sometimes those 406 like to overpen. there's just a lot of superstructure and a lot of areas on the ship for the armor to hit. And even if it had a robust armor scheme for tier 6, there's still lots of places for those shells to catch, and that's kind of the case with Hipper and Hindenburg. I don't have runes, so I don't know, but really solid game. Really goes to show how versatile Yorck can be in any situation. So hope you guys enjoy. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you next time.
Unser Team hat die Führung übernommen.
Wir haben ein gegnerisches Schlachtschiff
Unser Sieg
versenkt.
ist in Sicht.
That's how it's done. Gegnerisches Schlachtschiff gesichtet. Gegnerisches Schlachtschiff gesunken.
Unser Sieg ist in Sicht.
Katapultjäger in der Luft. Katapultjäger kehrt zum Schiff zurück.
Unser Sieg ist in Sicht. Gefecht endet in 5 Minuten.